News at 9.
So we marched too long, bled too much, died too young, spent 20 nights in jail. To give up now.
Now at 9, the grand jury's decision in the death of Breonna Taylor sending shockwaves across the country, including right here in southeast Wisconsin. Those who join the fight for justice filling the streets of Kenosha. That's where we begin tonight at 9. We're monitoring protests in Louisville, Kentucky. This after the grand jury's ruling in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor. Grand jury returned 3 charges against 1 former officer yesterday over shooting in a home next to Taylor's with people inside, but no charges were returned in the shooting death of Taylor directly. Police said they would enforce curfew for the next 2 nights after 2 police officers were shot during unrest last night. Protests across the country, including here in Kenosha. Reverend Jesse Jackson, the family of Jacob Blake, and nearly 100 people marching today. Our BILLMISTON was there as well.
Good evening, Ben. That ending here at Grace Lutheran Church, where activists, along with the civil rights leader and local clergy, continued the calls for fairness and justice, regardless of one's skin color, pressing home the importance that if change doesn't happen, then it must come through the power of one's vote.
If we don't get it, shut it down!
The 78-year-old Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights leader and contemporary of Martin Luther King Jr., marching with nearly 100 or so others in Kenosha Thursday, winding roughly a half-mile through the neighborhoods to Grace Lutheran Church on 60th Street.
This coalition here, black and white together, excites me.
Jackson recalling struggles faced in the 60s, but that those struggles continue today.
We're in a very perilous season here. Fires in California, floods in the South, COVID-19 epidemic everywhere, racism everywhere. A president who seems to be indifferent to it.
We need to remember that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice.
Speakers stressing the importance of unity.
We got to move as one
to bring about change.
There's change in the air.
Jacob Blake's uncle and others standing in solidarity with those demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, as well as Blake, who is now paralyzed after being shot in the back 7 times by a Kenosha police officer late last month, demanding that officer be charged. The investigation by the state DOJ now in its final stages.
Our nephew didn't deserve what happened to him.
And that what happens on November 3rd is part of the change that's being demanded.
So don't let anyone tell you it doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. It absolutely does.
The whole country is watching us in Kenosha.
And that is why we're going to continue this fight to make sure that we do not get the same exact treatment.
Breonna Taylor!
We're going to keep doing this fight the right way, having good trouble.
Now, earlier this week, the state DOJ saying that once its investigation into the shooting is finished, it will be turned over to former Madison Police Chief Noble Ray, who was brought in as an independent expert to review that case before it is turned over to the Kenosha County District's Attorney for a charging decision. Now, Blake's uncle, Justin Blake, saying that he is skeptical of the choice of Ray, as Ray is a career law enforcement officer. Reporting in Kenosha, BILLMISTON, Fox 6 News.
Bill, thanks.